Alright, let me turn this Bluetooth speaker off, I think. Or you know what? We'll just try taking a video with this and see how it works as a microphone as I move around the shop here. This video is going to be some of the rebuild of the O25s that we're working on and the MS250. This is the MS250, and I'm going to start putting some of this saw together. I'm sorry, no, you guys, let me back up and stop there. This is an O25. The reason I haven't started the MS250 from this point where it's at right now is this is the only handle I have, and while I thought it was a good fix, when I did finally get all the tape off, I realized that it's just the tape was the fix, and this is just foil tape. And so I could fix that handle. I know I could easily put a strap on there, and it would be good to go, but I really don't want that to impact the quality, or the value of this saw. I do need to make a decent price on these saws. It's very important right now. Finances are starting to get a little bit thin. We have some home repairs we have to do, and so been working all night, and we're gonna rebuild some of this O25. And basically, once you get to a certain point with these saws, there's a certain order you kind of have to put things back together to make it go smoothly, so you don't fight stuff. I don't always remember what that is because I don't do these all day every day, but we'll do it together, and if we run into any of that, then so be it. We learn. Okay, so basically I'm gonna be, because I don't have enough space to have the camera and everything else I have on my bench right now, I'm gonna just grab from my box. By the time you guys see this video, if all of these videos make it to the internet, I hope they make it to YouTube. By the time you guys have seen this one, you'll have known the setup I have going on with where my hardware is organized and everything. You can see the hardware is over there. We have parts over there. I'll swing you around real quick and just let you know there's the box of stuff there. So I'm going to be going the different places right around here while you get to stay at the saw. And so if things are quiet for a moment or you don't see any work going on, it's because you know I'm grabbing a part, and I'll let you guys know that. Alright, so welcome to Matthew's Shed Shop, and I'm going to call this a therapy session. Sometimes working on the saws is utter frustration, and right now I am working on them to make money, but I really went through a great extent cleaning these O25s, because that was therapy. Sometimes the cleaning is the therapy for me. And I say therapy, guys, because some people kill things, some people hunt, some people play video games. We're all just swimming in the soup of life. I'm trying to find the King of the Universe, Jesus, more in my life than I have him. And so basically everybody has their different things they do for therapy. Mine is I work on chainsaws. So I'm going to start basically with the outskirts of everything. I'm going to grab a flywheel, and then we need and basically, you guys, when I have multiple saws of the same series like this that I'm going to be working on, I'll usually take and try and take the nicest stuff first, and that'll be my highest dollar saw. And then the other ones that might not be as pretty, I will knock a little bit of the price off. So we got our flywheel and our flywheel nut. This is a pre-keyed flywheel on the O25. Many of the steels are pre-keyed. It's not a separate key. And so we'll line that up. And disclaimer, you guys, I'm not a steel mechanic. I'm not even a certified mechanic of any type. I'm a certified redneck. I'm a certified what do you call it? Southern cracker, I guess. And so I might do things that people will say, oh, you shouldn't do it that way. And I do things that aren't in the steel service manuals. But I feel they work, and I don't feel I'm doing anything that's really going to cause problems on a mechanical standpoint. So basically this is a 13 mil nut. And why did I tap that flywheel with that rubber mallet? Well, because I've sheared a lot of flywheel keys, especially when I use an impact. And I don't particularly want to shear anymore. And so I do use an impact, but if I tap that on there like that, it ensures me that when I go to tighten this all the way that it's not going to shear. And I'm grabbing real hard on this, you guys. I'm not letting it move. Now, I will do a video at some point. We'll get the torque specs of a STHIL chainsaw in front of us with a torque screwdriver, and we'll do everything to torque, and I'll show you guys just how long that takes. And what we're going to do with that is I'm going to eventually have a video. I'm going to put two of the same saw in front of me. I'll try to get them in a very similar condition, and we'll do one. I'll estimate torque by hand and with my drill that I use. And the other one we'll do with the torque screwdriver, and we'll see how close I get on the one that I just guesstimated on. And so I think that'll be a fun video. But I don't torque things, you guys, to specs. I really do it by feel. I can't say whether that's the perfect way to do it or not, but it's just how I do it. All right, now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to get a worm gear out of my hardware bucket here. We're going to get a worm gear. We're going to get what's called a clutch rotor washer. We're going to get, let's see, we're going to get a needle cage bearing, which I believe I'm putting aftermarket needle cage bearings on these if I can find them. I had a stack of them. Whoops. No matter how hard I work to get things where I want them, there we go. So we'll have that. We've got our grease right here. I don't know how much you guys can see. I want you to be able to see a good view of what's going on. Hopefully that works for you. And you guys will have to let me know as I try to learn a good camera angle. I've thought about different places to mount a camera that would be good, but I just haven't because my channel is not big enough yet to go to that extent. Okay, so I got my worm gear. I got my washer. Now, these only came on the 250s and later, very later 025s. Same with the 029s and the 029 Supers. They didn't have this, but all the MS290s do. And so I have to order more of these, but I try to upgrade saws to just have it. I think it's a heat preventative is one of its jobs. But I can't say beyond that, honestly. Alright, so we've got that. And then we're going to need a clutch, a sprocket. So this saw will have a rebuilt clutch, and by rebuilt it just means that we've redone the springs. And it's going to have, what do you guys say? We got a couple of sprocket options here. This is an 025. I have some OEM STHIL sprockets. It's going to be a 8-tooth or 7-tooth, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So 7-tooth, 0.325. This is going to be an OEM STHIL, brand new as well. And then I've got some aftermarkets here, which would be what is supposed to be the identical to this. And the only difference I really notice, and I should put them on a scale, the aftermarket actually feels heavier. And I don't know if that is going to be good or bad. I would think that would put more strain on the motor, but also it almost feels like the metal is more, I don't know, STHIL's sprocket doesn't feel like the teeth are any higher quality. And so these are our options. I usually only like to try different things, and then I've got another new OEM STHIL. I think we'll put the OEMs on the first 3 saws, and then we'll start using aftermarkets after that, because these are, after freight and everything, like 30 bucks. So that's a $30 bill, you guys. Please understand, when you see it priced like $325 on, in my region anyways, on a STHIL MS250 refurbished with a 1-year warranty, notice, because I'm dropping $3 bills and $7 bills and $14 bills, and you know, the stuff's not cheap. Now that's not what I'm paying on this aftermarket hoses. That's probably like another 3, another 2, another 1. So that's $6 right there. We're already at $36 in parts. Add the cable rings, that's $14. We're at $50 in parts already. You know, we're not even halfway there yet. And I paid $156 for this saw. So we're already at $200, and I can't tell you how many hours of labor. All right, so moving on, we got a clutch. I want to look for the cleanest one here. You don't really see this one, but that needs clean more. Okay. And then our sprocket. And I haven't been taking pictures. I should, because I can just push a button on the camera while I'm recording. So, we'll do that. But I'm kind of using the videos as the before and during process now, I think. Let's see. There's a camera button. Take a picture. Okay. Alright, now we got our grease gun here. You do need to grease this, but you don't want to over grease these worm gears. Grease is great. But you just need enough in there, because the problem is the heat will melt even this high temp grease. And so when you put too much in there, it just causes a goopy mess, and you have to go back in there because you're having a problem with the saw. Then it kind of sucks. So, and yes, the service manual for STHIL, at least my service manual, which is offline, so I'm not saying it's 100% legit STHIL service manual, says to grease the worm gear. We're going to put that worm gear on first. Next is going to be our rotor washer, our clutch rotor washer. Okay, oh, on that, you guys, on your clutch rotor washer, you will see the word top. Anytime you're working on a STHIL chainsaw and you see top, it means facing you. So I'm right here. This is the top, needs to face me. The top of the saw. Think about if you're working on the saw, the top is up. Pretend even if you're working back here, the top is up. So like a lot of these grommets, the metal grommets for the carbs intake boot says top, and you got to make sure it's the right way, especially over there. All right, so that will go on. Next will be our clutch. And this is a reverse thread, which means it's not lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. It's left-handed thread, which means we've got to turn it left counterclockwise to tighten it. Now, again, guys are going to recommend against this. I take heat for it. I don't really care. I'm using my impact to put this clutch on. I'm holding really hard. You can use rope down here as well, but if you do that, please don't use an impact, because yeah, I just don't think that would be a good idea. I've done it, but I also hold the flywheel at the same time. People say the vibration is bad for the crank. I don't know. I've never had a saw have problems when I've done this, so the day I do, I guess I'll stop. Alright, and now we've got our needle cage bearing. This too needs to be greased, you guys. And I also need to grab a retaining washer from our hardware. So here we've got our nice organized hardware. We're going to get a retaining washer. And we're going to get a retaining clip, which they were stacked so I could grab both at once, but I knocked it over. Alright, so that's for the flywheel side. We'll keep the rest of the hardware in there for now. We got our nice pretty sprocket. Get our knife, cut that open. Yeah, our nice $30 bill. Sometimes I hate even cutting the steel plastic. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that picture, guys? Okay, I might order more steel sprockets, because I really only want to put this aftermarket sprocket on a... sprockets are something I would never use aftermarket before, you guys. And then I thought, boy, again, so say this steel $30 sprocket lasts you 3 years. That's $10 a year. Say you buy an $8 aftermarket sprocket, and it lasts you 2 years. That's only $4 a year. That's $6 a year difference. So anyways, all right, now on your sprocket, if anybody doesn't know, you have a little groove here, and that worm gear we just put on, that worm gear arm goes in this groove. And so we take and we look and we locate our worm gear, and we drop our sprocket over our worm gear. Now this one looks questionable to me. The worm gear looks short, the arm looks short, and so it does need to be adjusted, it looks like. Well, I'll tell you what, let's find out exactly. Yeah, I feel that that's not touching that arm enough. We're gonna go backwards. Okay, so now we're gonna take this clutch off. Take our rotor washer off. Take our worm gear out. And basically what's happening, you guys, is this is not long enough. Sometimes they get worn. You can just bend them out. Usually, it doesn't always work. For now, I'm going to grab... Yeah, this one does look a little worn out, and it also looks bent, this one here. So we'll have to straighten that. I'm going to leave it over here because I don't want to put it back in the thing greasy. Alright, so we'll redo this. Put some grease on it. I really would like to, I need to get better at giving you guys links in the description of the stuff that I'm using. Because like, I think this grease gun was probably only 20 bucks. And I mean, boy, these things are amazing. I love it. But I'll tell you what, it did take me a while. I don't know why. Mini grease gun would not come up on any freaking search. Sometimes my internet is really weird what it does. It won't show me certain things. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, okay, so that's been re-greased. Slide that back on. Now, while we're putting this back together, since you guys already saw, remember, top out, top is you. I will say this. I haven't vacuum pressure tested this saw yet. And I'm covering up where there could be an air leak, a crankshaft seal that I installed. But when I do these ones, I basically feel if I'm not confident enough that there's not going to be an air leak where I've worked, unless a seal malfunctions, then I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't have to have a chassis sit there for 24 hours while I wait to vacuum pressure test a cylinder. It will get vacuum pressure tested, but if it has an air leak, that means I did all this work for naught, because it has to come apart while I find the air leak. If it's not somewhere easy to access, I have to start taking things apart. I've once or twice had this type of base gasket where I did have an air leak, where it's just Permatex. Okay, so now we need to grease our bearing, and how you do that is put some grease, just one little squirt on the inside, and then I take and actually this is how service manual says to do it, believe it or not. I don't know if it's an actual screwdriver, but I think it is a similar tool, and you just spread that grease around the inside there. Okay, that can go on your crankshaft, but you also need to put grease on the either outside of the bearing here or on the sprocket. And so I just put a little pump in there, just a tiny bit, just coating it. On this one, it's okay to go a little extra. Too much better than not enough, because you're not as close to that oil seal back there that can become goopy and messy. And so if I have an air leak, I do want to know where it happened. So say I run this saw for 4 days and all of a sudden it stops running right. Well, I could have had a crankshaft seal fail. I've had OEM steel crankshaft seals fail more than I've had aftermarket ones fail. And I don't think it's installation error, because it's not very hard to line them up, and these are pressed in all the way against a groove. So we will again line that notch up with that worm gear, and yeah, it's catching good. That's great, and it's got a little extra on it. I love it. Alright, so then we put our retaining washer on, and then this clip, we're going to set it on there. Okay, we're going to grab our needle nose. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Don't try and push it on there with a screwdriver, please. It will go ping ping a lot of the times. Okay, you can see, and I'm literally just going to put my needle nose here and against the crank. And I'm sorry I have to do it this way. I'm blocking you, I know. But then I'm just going to get it right in the center, and I'm going to squeeze it together until it clips on. And that side's good to go for now. Excuse me. The chain brake, a lot of times I will put that stuff on first, but then the problem becomes you've got that handle flapping around in your way. And so I decided this time to do it a little bit differently. Put some other stuff on first. I don't have mufflers painted yet, or I would even put a muffler on with the rubber behind it. But I'm working on getting mufflers painted, so we'll do that in a bit probably, because we don't really need it painted. I just don't want to use a dirty one. So what can we do next? I think the coil is a good place to go. I will tell you, this impulse hose, I have it on here, but I will most likely take it off, put it on the handle, because it's easier to reach in and put it on right here than it is to get it where it connects on the bottom of your handle right here. I hate not being able to see the phone screen, but I don't want things in reverse, so I'm trying to use the rear facing camera. So that's that. So we'll grab a coil. We'll grab a ground wire here. Okay. And then we're going to need two. Boy, I should have looked up the sizes of these for you guys. But the majority of the standard screws, I don't even know the size. If you took your saw apart, you know. They're almost all the same screws. The coil screws are the same as the recoil cover, same as, you know. The small screws are going to be your chain, or your chain brake parts cover, and the shroud, I think. And then there's one other thing on this that has small screws, I believe. But anyway, so we're going to set our coil in there. Oh, let me get the ground wire in first. Okay, so the ground wire, you guys, gets routed like this. It's going to end up getting screwed to your, that's where one of your small screws goes, right there to your cylinder. Goes down into that bit, and it sets in there. And then it'll bolt on top of the coil there. And then this one, it can get confusing. There's a lot of wires, and it's very hard to find a video. And I think I've got it right, because I don't know why I always forget the way these wires have to run. So if you have this particular setup, this is going to go to your cylinder with that other wire. This one here is going to go right here on your coil. And then these will feed through your handle to your kill switch. And it shouldn't matter on these. I think they could, well, it will only reach one way, but that goes to your kill switch, which is also your throttle switch for starting your saw. So I believe that's the right setup. This also plugs in here. I never unplugged it, which I'm glad I just did, because boy is it dirty. We're going to spray that out with a little electronics cleaner. Okay, that looks better. Plug that back up. And so I hope that explained, I hope I explained that good. So we'll go ahead and put this in. How can you guys see? That looks okay. I guess I could bring you forward a little so you can see a little better. We'll set our coil in here. Make sure you have fins toward your coil on this part, either fins or your non-magnetic. The magnets will say N and S. One side of your flywheel is magnetized, one is not. We will put this in here under that wire. It's easier. Okay. There we go. That will go to your cylinder there. Let's get it behind that wire though, so we can, nope, let's see. No, I prefer it the other way. Put the coil wire in its groove first, the spark plug boot wire, and then this one can mount in there. Those will go there. Alright. We'll get a little red. I use red thread lock. You don't need a bunch of this stuff. Depending on the application, I'll either put it in the hole or directly on the screw. On this one, it's easier to put it in the hole. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops, or one big size drop. And as you turn that screw, it will release it into the threads. So that's I heard a guy say T27 on a video today, and he got me questioning. I'm pretty certain it's T25 on this coil. Most of STHIL screws, yeah, T25. He was definitely wrong on telling people to get a T27 wrench if they're going to work on any steel screwdriver. T27 is good to have too, but T25 is your most common. So this is a small screw that goes to the cylinder here. Oh, I already grabbed one, duh. Still getting used to being able to work and do a camera at the same time, guys. I just went forward and backs a little bit with that screw to work the thread lock all through the threads on both sides and everything. Okay, now I didn't torque that, you guys. I'm just I didn't get a torque wrench and torque it, and I'm not going to. We're gonna do a video on that someday. But I am looking for my T25 handheld here. Nope, that's not it. Should be right here on the bench. I just used it. Okay, bear with me one sec. I gotta step back and look. See? Sometimes that's all it takes. Because I want to be able to feel how tight I'm tightening that. And I like it. I like where it's at, especially with Loctite in there. Alright, so next, we'll go ahead and do our coil as well. Alright, I'm going to tell you guys, I do have the tool for the air gap. 20 thou is what this is. But I'm also going to tell you don't need it. And I'm going to tell you any small engine guy that's never or doesn't commonly, regularly use a standard business card to set his air gap is not a small engine guy. I'm telling you, certified gold member or certified gold level steel mechanics still use business cards to set their air gaps. This is always there, and if I can't find it, I grab a business card, because it's not ever hard to find a business card usually. But the tool is always in front of me, so it's easiest for me, I suppose. I don't know, but you can do it either way, and I'm about to show you. I should be pausing this or stopping these videos and getting all kinds of videos of how to do different stuff. But right now, this is all about the 250 series, so I'm trying to do it in one long string. Alright, now what you're going to do is take either your business card or your air gap tool. You're going to put it in there, and you're going to turn your magnets to your flywheel. And basically what you want to do is you want to ensure it is even with your contact points here. You want to make sure both of your contact points, let's see, on your irons here, and back here would be the other one, are both against this magneto here. And so then you would tighten your screws down, okay? Now I'm going to show you with the business card. Same thing. You just put it in there, okay? If this is off a tiny bit, you guys, the air gap, if it's off a couple of thous, that's not going to really hurt anything. If it's off a lot, it can cause your timing to be bad. But yeah, business card. Oops, we missed a wire here. I do that quite frequently. It's okay. Again, video thing's a little different for me still, but it's good therapy right now. And you see, that is why I questioned last time why. See, because that one didn't fit through. And so I wondered about that, but I couldn't see. Yeah, I can honestly say, you guys, I'm a little baffled on the coil right now. I've looked at the videos and seen guys have had it wired this way. I don't recall there being 3 to the cylinder. It just doesn't appear, however. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Yeah, see, that Loctite's already taken setting. Yep. Good stuff. It just doesn't seem like that would have gone that way. I don't know where else this goes. I've taken so many of these apart this week, and it's baffling me. Okay, you guys, I'm going to look at the service manual one more time and try and find some photos and stuff, because I believe I know this one's correct. It's this one, but this is already connected to the coil, so why would it need to go from the coil to the iron? I'll tell you what, I know why. That is correct. Okay, so I was incorrect, you guys, and we'll find out when we go to start the saw. But I do believe this actually does just turn around and get connected here, and I'm gonna verify that. But it seems to me that that is what we've got going on, because I'm looking at the indents that are in the thing. It has to be that way because the other screw doesn't fit through here. It's a different size hole. Unless this goes here and this comes down, but that doesn't make sense. Alright, I gotta do more research, guys. I want to get it right. It's terrible. I should remember this stuff, but you know, that's what a brain injury does to you guys. You can't remember 5 minutes ago. So we'll continue with another video after I figure this out.